Adam Copeland returns and Mercedes Moné picks up her first loss. Devastating and heartbreaking news from Adam Cole, and AEW did the right thing and crowned Hangman Adam Page your new AEW World Champion. I'm Luke Owen. Ollie Davis will be up later to review Goldberg's retirement match with more serious injury news about Seth Rollins, but this is my review of AEW All In Texas.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
To kick things off, let's address the elephant in the room, as it might be one of the dominating talking points. AEW All In not only set a box office record for All Elite Wrestling in North America, it also broke wrestling records, as it's now officially the longest wrestling pay-per-view of all time, not including pre-shows, surpassing the 5 hours and 24 minutes of WrestleMania 35, clocking in, at least on the Fight feed, at 5 hours and 57 minutes. So if you're one of our viewers who really doesn't like it when Ollie talks about how long AEW shows are, I'd probably avoid some of today's WrestleTalk podcast because he'll probably bring it up a few times. For me, while I did feel its rather girthy length at times, I don't think the triple threat tag match or fatal four-way needed to be as long as they were. This is AEW's biggest show of the year, and when it comes to the final 3 matches in particular, I didn't feel lethargic like I did with Mania 35. I personally don't think this should be as big of a deal as some will make it out to be. The second hour of the pre-show saw the typical AEW template of multi-man matches, as the Sons of Texas and the Von Erichs beat Shane Taylor Promotions, Big Boom AJ teamed with Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii to beat the Don Callis family, and FTR beat the Outrunners in a really good tag match that wasn't quite at the level of their Collision clash a couple of weeks ago, but nicely builds to another bout. The big news, of course, though, was the AEW debut of Josh Matthews. I wonder if they'll pitch him down like TNA did. There was actual big news on the pre-show, but we'll get into that in a bit. The main show kicked off with the Ops retaining their Trios Championships over the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, along with Gabe Kidd, who was absolutely fantastic. This was a huge platform for the young lad from Nottingham, and boy howdy did he make the most of it. The thing I wanted to see more than anything was him going at it with Samoa Joe, and they saved that for the end, but didn't give it all of it, which makes me think they're going to do a match at Forbidden Door for the IWGP Global Championship. Following the Ops winning, Claudio and co Pillmanized Joe's neck, which I thought was going to be a setup for a long night narrative of the baddies taking out all of Hangman's Avengers one by one to stop them interfering in the main event, but really, it was done to put over the seriousness of the spot, so it meant so much more when they did it to Will Ospreay during said main event. Joe was even stretched out after the match. We then got the men's casino gauntlet, which, while not as fun as previous gauntlets, was still really good. It kicked off with MJF and Mark Briscoe, which was nice and intense, and it was then followed by Ricochet, Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, building off their incredible Supercard of Honor match, Mystico, who did his full Arena Mexico entrance, Josh Alexander, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, well at least we know who's getting pinned, Brody King, a returning Juice Robinson, Kota Ibushi, and the Beast Mortos. Robinson returning was probably the biggest news of the match, as well as the Guns, who brawled with Gates of Agony as they attempted to help Ricochet, but the bigger news was that Juice has shaved his beard, and seeing beardless Juice Robinson is like seeing photos of Christopher Daniels with hair. It just doesn't look right and cannot be unseen. Mark had the match won following a Jade Trigger to Roderick Strong, but MJF snuck in and stole the win to guarantee himself a world title match down the line. Tony Khan at the post-show press conference noted that it's still to be determined if this is a cash-in style gimmick, but I really hope that it's more cut and dry rather than just being a derivative Money in the Bank deal. Either way, MJF winning here is not only a great choice, it's the best choice. After nearly 10 months of Jon Moxley as champion and a fairly limp list of challengers, this main event scene needs a refresh, and guys like MJF should be in it. But now, it's time to talk about that sad news. On the pre-show, it was announced that Adam Cole was unable to get medically cleared, and therefore his match with Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship would be cancelled. Not only that, but Adam Cole would be vacating the title and a new champ would be crowned in a fatal four-way. Adam Cole came out for a promo to address this, and immediately there was a vibe that this was much worse than someone just having to vacate a belt. Cole was in tears as he announced that he's dealing with health issues, which means he's going to have to go away for a while. He said that he's not in the right headspace to be talking about retirement. This isn't goodbye, just a see you later. John Albert tweeted, an AEW official told me they were unaware of the extent of Adam Cole's health issues and found out at the same time as everyone else. And that was confirmed during the post-show press conference where AEW said that they had planned for Cole to wrestle as of yesterday. Cole hugged Roddy and Kyle in the ring and had one final Adam Cole, baby, for now. We wish you all the best, Adam Cole. And it was such an emotional and devastating moment, and it felt that the Fatal 4-Way to crown the new champion never really had the crowd on its side, and it was never going to after that speech. Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, and Kyle Fletcher gave it their all. It's just this crowd were emotionally burned out. I know I was. It's why I don't think this needed to go nearly 16 minutes. The crowd only really popped when someone did a big dive or when Dustin got in to do his trademark spots. What also didn't help is that this was all a foregone conclusion. I think most people had predicted that Kyle Fletcher was going to beat Adam Cole for the title anyway, so this is just a way to get the belt on him. So come on guys, let's wrap this up, put the belt on the Protostar and let the Fletchlights be happy. Dustin Rhodes then rolled up Daniel Garcia and won the title. Wait, what? It shouldn't have been a surprise. The replacement usually wins in wrestling, and this is in Texas, and Dustin Rhodes is from Texas, but Dustin Rhodes winning 5 years after his baby brother won the same title really was a genuine surprise. I think Kevin summed it up best in our live reactions when he said, ha 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 ha, sure, why not? At least the mayor of Painesville had a nice time. It also woke the crowd back up for the big stakes tag match of Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland taking on the Young Bucks. All four guys got big entrances, the Bucks in particular, I think it's still going on, and Swerve came out to his old Defy theme of Ain't Nobody brackets Loves Me Better close brackets sung by former WWE ring announcer Jojo Offerman, complete with fireflies behind her. It set a great stage for what was a phenomenal tag match that told a brilliant story that Matt and Nick Jackson, a tag specialist who dominated this tag match early. Will and Swerve are singles guys coming together, but tag team wrestling is in the DNA of the Young Bucks. What hurt the Bucks though was the heart and soul of Ospreay and Swerve. No matter what they threw at them, they kept kicking out. They did all of their big tag moves, more bang for your buck, EVP trigger, TK driver, none of it was working. And in the end, the Brotherhood of AEW overcame the Brotherhood of Bucks as Swerve took the super kick bullet for Will just as he had done for Swerve in the build-up, and they managed to take out Nick on the outside with a Swerve stomp, meaning that Matt couldn't tag even though he was desperately reaching for an empty corner. A brutal looking hidden blade house call combo gave the good guys the win, and Matt and Nick Jackson are no longer EVPs of AEW. Unsurprisingly to all of those who've been paying attention, this was awesome. The Women's Casino Gauntlet started with Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander, followed by Willow Nightingale, Ty Mello, Tekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, Thunder Rosa, and the debuting Shuri and Alex Windsor. Like doing two Rumbles on the same show, doing two Casino Gauntlets is tricky in making them feel different from each other. And the way they made this one feel different from the first was by having all of the seconds interfere. We got Penelope Ford and Anna Jay brawling before a returning Harley Cameron stopped Ford, and Sky Blue may as well have just been an active participant in the match, the amount she was in the ring helping Julia. Mina went to put Rosa in the figure four but got caught by the O-Face from Athena for the win. It was fun and the right winner, and also brilliantly was a misdirect for the Women's Championship match later. If Athena is winning here, then surely Mercedes is winning there, right? But before that, we had the Hurt Syndicate retain their tag titles over Jet Speed and the Patriarchy in a match that really went longer than was necessary. The story of the match wasn't Bobby Lashley selling the concerto to the leg from Dynamite, and instead just Lashley and Shelton winning some more, and then winning overall. Bobby didn't sell the leg, so what was the point of the angle on Dynamite? If the Hurt Syndicate were just going to win, this match did not need to go nearly 19 minutes. Especially as the real story was in the post-match, as Nick Wayne turned on his father Christian Cage, and it was revealed that Kip Sabian and Martha, why did you say that name, were in on it the whole time. They set up to Concerto Christian, but Adam Copeland made his return, doing his full entrance while his friend is being beaten up. I guess that's just a standard for wrestling these days, and he ran off the kids and FTR. He helped Christian to his feet, and echoing Cage's "Go F yourself," he told Christian to go find himself. I enjoyed this, and I'm really glad they didn't just put the two of them back together, as I think they need to earn it. Then we got the first of three main events as Timeless Toni Storm beat Mercedes Moné to retain her Women's World Championship in a fantastic match. The entrances were equally as grand, with Moné wearing a cape of all the names she's used her creative control to beat. Lol, jokes aside, the build they've done for Moné really did mean that this felt like it could go either way. And as I said a moment ago, with Athena winning the Casino Gauntlet, it sort of set up a natural rematch between the two, this time over the Women's World Championship. But Toni Storm wasn't there for that. She bit Moné in the fanny while in the tombstone position, hit 3 consecutive Storm Zeros for an amazing near fall, but eventually put her away with a wicked and brutal avalanche Storm Zero. And incredible match. Both women were superb, the drama was incredible, and the downfall of Monet is about to begin. Good luck following that! Checks notes, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. Okada Omega 5 was always going to be tough. The previous 4 matches aren't just incredible, they're the stuff of legend. They're 4 of the best professional wrestling matches of all time. But they were also nearly a decade ago. It's been 7 years since Dominion 2018, and in that time, one half of this match has had diverticulitis. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Kenny was very open that this wasn't going to be like the other matches. They're 7 years older, they're different people. They're going to need to change it up. And they did so spectacularly. It was a story of 2 guys who know each other incredibly well, scouting moves before the other had even thought of doing it, working over the diverticulitis, and adding that American wrestling flair, as Don Callis was a superb dickhead at ringside and on commentary. He was also the difference maker as he dragged the ref out of the ring as Kenny hit the one-winged angel, and Kenny fell to a stiff as a dick rainmaker to crown Okada the unified champion. Was it as good as the others? No. But I think we need to draw a line in the sand and not compare it to those matches. It would be unfair to do so for the reasons I laid out earlier. And it was still an amazing spectacle that leaves enough in the tank for another, while also giving Kenny the chance to move out of this division and into the main event space where a certain former tag partner currently rules the roost. Which brings us to the actual main event of this show. Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley won't be for everyone. There will be those who will argue that it was too violent, or it was violence for the sake of violence, or that it went too far. But for me, it was about as perfect as it could possibly be. And bloody hell, it was violent from the outset, with Page stabbing Mox in the head with a fork, blood literally gushing from his head, Moxley dragging Page through glass, which is actually somehow worse than doing a big move into it. I'm sure Page will be crying a river as he recovers from that one. And Mox got powerbombed off the middle rope into 2 chairs that were, on the hard bit, so it looked like it hurt way more. There was no blood anywhere else on All In. It was all safe for this match, and boy, did it gush out. And then we got the run-ins. Wheeler Yuta ran in, Hangman gave Marina Shafir a Death Valley driver through a table on the floor, Claudio Castagnoli ran out to attack Hangman Page, Ospreay was the first Avenger to fall as Claudio Pillmanized his neck the same way he did to Joe earlier in the night. Mox suplexed Hangman off the apron through 2 barbed wire tables and hit a gnarly high-angle Death Rider through a chair, but Hanger still kept getting up. And then Darby Allin cut a promo from the top of Mount Everest, and Bryan Danielson made an appearance to run in and take out Mox's goons along with Darby, who came down from the top of the stadium like his dad Sting before him. Hangman had the match won with a Deadeye off the apron through a table, but Marina Shafir pulled Mox back up. The Young Bucks then attacked Page, which gave Mox and Marina time to get a board of nails, which he then hit a stomp and Death Rider into. Hangman still got up, which meant that Mox was ready to pull out the big guns. Get me the briefcase, get me the title. But before Marina could pass it across, she was handcuffed by Prince Nana, and Swerve Strickland came out to take out the Bucks and hand Hangman Page the chain that he gave Strickland on Collision. Hangman hit a buckshot into the bed of nails, then literally hung Mox with a chain for the tap-out win. Your new AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page, and I cried. It's not even been 12 hours since the end of the show as I'm writing this, so I don't know if my emotions came from Hangman winning, seeing the AEW World title again for the first time in 10 months, being happy that Mox was finally vanquished, or a combination of all 3. I think it is the latter, and if it is, that means that the last few months at least of the Death Rider storyline has worked on me. I wanted to see Mox beaten, and I wanted to see Hangman be the one to do it. It was just so perfect. And 6 hours be damned, I bloody loved AEW All In Texas. Shut up, Holly. It wasn't too long. It was worth it all for that moment. Go on, get up. It's time for you to talk about the other show.
Oh, God. Is it still on?
No, it's over now. You need to talk about Saturday night's main event. Hot tag to you.
A real show.
Following the angle on SmackDown, Jelly Roll was in Randy Orton's corner for his match against Drew McIntyre, who was accompanied by Logan Paul. Mr. Roll pushed Logan to the ground, Drew got distracted by it, and turned round into an RKO from Outer, building to a celebrity title match for SummerSlam. Drew had a Claymore on Jelly in the post-match angle, which was very fun. So Mr. Roll challenged for that tag later on. All the women were sitting in the crowd to promote Evolution, which turned into a fiery angle when Naomi jumped Jade Cargill, leading to a big pull-apart brawl. Nick Aldis then revealed the special guest referee for their no-holds-barred match as Bianca Belair, making her return for the first time since Mania. Solo Sikoa beat Jimmy Uso with his feet on the ropes, and Talatonga holding those feet for extra security. The Bloodline beat down Jimmy afterwards, which brought out Jacob Fatu for the save. Seth Rollins and LA Knight was at the 10-minute mark when Seth fell to the ground after missing a springboard moonsault. He immediately went to the corner, spoke to the referee and Paul Heyman, and a doctor came over. At first, it seemed like a work. Seth was laying a trap for Knight, but then Knight pulled him up and suddenly hit a single BFT to win, implying the match had been called off early. But then they had a replay prepared of the moment Seth might have tweaked his knee. While they also had that for Liv Morgan's legit injury, they didn't cut away from Rollins during this time. And again I thought, well, maybe this is a weird work to throw us off the scent when he cashes in his briefcase on Bill Goldberg in the main event, because Bill Goldberg's going to win. But that didn't happen either, and the story of Goldberg's match was also selling the knee, implying Seth wouldn't also focus on that same body part. Footage has since emerged of Seth shouting in anger as he was helped to the back by medical staff during the ad break. But again, that's also what he did when CM Punk debuted at War Games. But also then, PW Insider has reported that the injury was legitimate. Rollins was originally booked to beat Knight in the match, but they had to change the result. Brian Alvarez has also said that this is legit. But some of Dave Meltzer's sources are a bit more skeptical, including one of his so-called most trusted sources, who said that they first heard about these plans as early as Thursday. It's a very odd situation, as it neither feels like a work or a shoot. But if the injury is as serious as it seems, and real, this could significantly affect WWE's main event plans for the rest of the year, and maybe even beyond. He's the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, the leader of Raw's top heel faction, who have been building a match against a returning Roman Reigns. He would have presumably been the World Heavyweight Champion before the end of the summer, and a reported long-term plan was for Bron Breakker to turn heel on him. Now all of that could be up in the air. So maybe Goldberg had a bit more time than planned left for his main event match against Gunther, although again lending support to the "it's real." Apparently everything was chaotic behind the scenes for the last 40 minutes of this show. The whole Goldberg segment was about half an hour, complete with Bill's always spine-tingling entrance, this time flanked by former WCW head of security Doug Dillinger, Ernest the Cat Miller, Josh Barnett, and Sorg, son of Goldberg. This match was laid out perfectly to not expose Goldberg's limitations and accentuate his strengths. He laughed off Gunther's chops early, ha 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 ha! He went for spears but kept hitting things that weren't Gunther, like a barricade, or referee Charles Robinson, who, given that and John Cena's pounce on him last month, I'm surprised has any bones left. Gunther pulled off Bill's knee brace and started whipping him with it. And continuing Gunther's obsession with family members at ringside, he pushed Sorg in the front row. But that was enough of a distraction. He got into the ring, right into a spear and a jackhammer, and for one beautiful moment, as a new referee slid in, I thought we might actually get the chaos that Goldberg could win the World Heavyweight title. But Gunther kicked out the cowards. Goldberg's knee buckled beneath him, and Gunther made him pass out in the sleeper. Not winning the title aside, this was the best version of what a Goldberg match in 2025 could be. Far better than most others in his WWE return run. I do feel like the retirement occasion could have been far more milked though, with just a 30-second in-ring bit afterwards where Bill thanked the crowd. But maybe that was because of Seth's injury, but also injury earlier on. Hopefully he gets a big retirement send-off segment on Raw. But as one superhero retires, a new one has soared. The new Superman film came out this weekend, and you can watch mine and Luke's spoiler-free review of it over on our movie channel Cutscene by clicking the video on screen now.